Hello, Rattlers. This is Robert Kubis here. I'm about to share my story map JS. Here's my preview. Um, the text I'll be working with today is Mark Danielewski's House of Leaves. Um, and one thing to start off with. One of the bits of advice on the website was to keep things in a kind of contained geography. With that in mind, I kind of just crumpled that up and threw it in the bin. Um, so, so moving on, you'll see here in a minute. If anyone's not familiar with this text, the essential premise is someone's house is like an eighth of an inch bigger on the inside than the outside, and that was enough to uh, spark my interest and to see what this is all about. Um, on the homepage, I included a spiral staircase, which is a central image in the novel. And just one flipping through the book, you'll notice just all the different. It doesn't look like a traditional novel. This was one of the more busiest pages in the smaller, excuse me, picture rather. You have on the left there's a footnotes that take up about a third of a page, and on the right there is a another footnote that's upside down. Um, and I suppose one of the effects that Daniel Lewski was trying to do is make the author feel claustrophobic here. So um, really admire the homework he's done and I suppose contributions is into what the novel can be. It just felt really creative the way he organized text on the page. So, um, so eventually in this house, I don't know if you're very familiar with it, uh, but there is a labyrinth. There's a closet that grows and grows, and uh, there's a lot of footnotes in this. So I let me see what happens when I click start exploring. Um, Nothing. Okay, so footnotes have always kind of been interesting to me. I remember in college I read a book called The Mezzanine by Nicholson Baker. It's about 120 pages, if I remember, and the story takes approximately like 11 seconds about someone riding an escalator. And there's a copious amounts of footnotes, and it was interesting where how footnotes can not only just contextualize things, but can also kind of be their own story. Um, I finished Infinite Jest about a year ago, although I've only read it in public like twice, so don't judge me too much about that. But Daniel Uski's has a has a fair amount of footnotes in it, and the footnotes we'll be talking about are about architecture. In this novel, I'll just read what's leading up to it. Sorry, I didn't get to delve deep enough into the story map JS to find a font color that might be easier to read. But it says, of course, rooms, corridors, and the occasional spiral staircase are themselves subject to patterns of arrangement, in some cases, particular patterns. However, considering the constant shifts, the seemingly endless redefinition of route, even the absurd way the first hallway leads away from the living room, only to return through a series of lefts back to where the living room should be, but clearly is not, describes the layout in no way reminiscent of any modern floor plans, let alone historical experiments in design. And there's a footnote. on this page 120 that will explore the next 14 pages on the left and the right. On the left are examples of famous or uh, our buildings, structures, and on the right there is a list of prominent architects, and the only one I recognized was Frank Lloyd Wright. But on the left, there are several famous ones. There's probably like 300 here, so I didn't make 300 slides. Let's see, I only have about a dozen. I decided to focus on libraries and like universities for knowledge. What I thought this story map could do was you take the copious amounts of footnotes, and what if we just zoomed in a little further? Because some of these you may be familiar with. There's the Spanish staircase in Rome, I believe the Pantheon in Rome, um, the Paris or the pyramid in Paris of at the Louvre. But one place that I two places I kind of recognized. One I included here was the Wexner Center for Arts in at the University or Ohio State University's campus. I actually had a class there, and so when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's a kind of an obscure place." And another uh, building was a church in Talmadge, Ohio, which is not too far from where I'm from. I'm from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Our claim to fame is we had the band Devo is from there. So there's a saying in Ohio that when a problem comes along, you must whip it. So I included these in order that they appear in the on the footnotes. So we'll just look at the first one that looks at a university. Not much to say about each of these things. A lot of these I was kind of unfamiliar with, but the first one was the Worcester Hall in Berkeley. And what I included was I tried to find some um, information about the architecture from their like official website. So this was from the University of Berkeley. Sometimes it didn't have information about the architecture, so I just included what their function was. So let's move on to the next one. The Chicago Herald Washington Library. Um, so another thing I noticed doing this was a lot of these buildings have kind of changed. Like if it was a university, it may have been renamed since the publication of this book. Here it is, the Wexner Center for the Visual Arts. There's also like an art museum here, a little music venue. The class I took, it was like a history of film. So I remember watching like Eight and a Half and Cabinet of Dr. Calgary. My favorite experience, though, was I saw a showing of The Searchers. I took my buddy Scott, and it was fun seeing that John Ford, John Wayne movie uh, with a room of like 40 other people. So there's my alumni. OH. Moving on, here is the Boston John F. Kennedy Library Complex. Yeah, and so I had to go on Google Maps and try to cross-reference with the Story Map JS. This one wasn't labeled on Story Map JS, so I had to kind of corroborate these two maps to find the location. And something else I noticed, yeah, there's a lot of I guess just in maps based on the video for the assignments that there was like McDonald's. Here I noticed more Subways than McDonald's. Next, we're moving a little north to the Baker Dormitory at MIT. So just perhaps a few clicks away from the JFK Library. and up north is Harvard. But we're probably not going to go to Harvard. We're going to go to Chicago, to a laboratory, and I just chose this when I read it. It feels like a very kind of exhausting list, and when you're reading the text, it just kind of feels like you're reading words, and then maybe a few places or cities you may recognize. So here we are back in Boston at the Graduate Center at Harvard, a series of now dorms for Harvard graduate students. Then we move over to Cambridge, the History Faculty Building. So that picture didn't come out as big as I'd hoped. So moving on, but it was for anyone who is reading this and maybe want to get a better idea of what some of these buildings are. I thought this would be a fun little reference to provide you a little more additional context, even though like this would be a collaborative. I could see this being as sort of a collaboration where if someone did universities, another person did churches or places of worship, another one for train stations, etc. Now, University of Virginia Jefferson Library. Let's move on to Leningrad Academy of Fine Arts. This, I believe, the academy changed its name. So, anyways, trying to think what else to say. But what's I suppose ironic about this is the footnote was saying that this corridor or labyrinth that appears in this house in House of Leaves, that it says it doesn't resemble any of these things. So by just going through this, you can just imagine the imagination of all of these buildings, and says that this is almost of no value to help you appreciate what the actual room is in the novel. This one was interesting. I was reading about it. There's about too much information to paste, but this library in Portugal, some prisons or some libraries or prisons have a library in them, but this library had a prison underneath it when it was built. So it so to learn more about either the novel or the architecture, but I suppose just to appreciate the homework that Danielewski did, and how massive this undertaking was of just a fun little passion project here. So there is my JS. Let's go back. I suppose one thing that I was kind of thing that stuck out to me was how all these places were kind of set in Europe and especially the United States. So not so much in Asia or um, other, you know, geographies. Although I did notice, looking at doing this research, that some of these buildings were designed by Chinese or Japanese firms. So take that for whatever it's worth. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to figure out how to try and stop this recording so you can close the window. Thanks for your time.